Is Texas back?
But I plan to make well over 1,000. I don't plan on going to sleep tonight.
71 to 68. USC versus Kansas.
Why did that get bring up? Why are we doing that?
Wusui, Big Sui.
I would disagree with the hot hand part because, like I said, Longwood's won 19 of their last 20.
I hope it's not close. I hope Texas gets destroyed.
I think because I would have San Diego State in this matchup, I have to go UConn.
Texas friends, feel free to DM me on the Twitter, which you don't know, and that's for good reason.
Hey y'all, my name is Riley Dutcher, and I'm smarter than all you guys because I won Outsiders Opinions Second Bracket Challenge. Now back to Austin and Kevin.
And then also Jake, as that finishes up. What's up, y'all? Welcome to our first ever in-person Outsiders Opinions video. You know, Austin and I have traveled. You know, Jake, we're in Missouri. You know, we got some swag from the local stores.
Thank you, Jake.
Yeah, thank you. Also, thanks for the tour, by the way.
Oh, yeah, the tour. It's a gorgeous campus, isn't it?
Oh, I thought, okay, I was making a joke. You didn't give us a tour.
No, I didn't.
I guess you were lying.
Yeah, it is a good campus. Okay. We've enjoyed it.
Yeah, we hope we can spend some more time as we're traveling. And shout out to Outsider Joey. This is her or his place. Don't want to give it away, but Joey, we appreciate you. Thank you for letting us be here. But yeah, you know, this is it. Wasn't a great bracket, but the winner of the bracket was, of course, Ben, and we are reaching out to him, as you just heard, a winner of the liner. Congrats, Ben. Then we have Trevor, and then Ra, and then I believe inaugural winner Andrew, and then we got Chef Dumpy 5. But you know, I'll toss this over to my co-host, as you can see him fully, Austin.
It was a terrible bracket, Kevin. We really struggled, but next year will be better. Thank you for joining us, Jake, in person.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So, yeah, bracket sucked. But we took some chances this year that we normally wouldn't take. We got bold, we got excited. And you know what? I don't regret any of the decisions I made because it was still fun. And making and believing in these teams was still very fun. And so, but all in all, we took chances that they were chances. They were risks, and it ended up not going in our favor, but it will someday.
Yeah, we will. It will. Went well last year, and we talked about UConn, but man, UConn. Let's just start there. That's insane what they did. We thought that was a chance, and we opted against it. But
yeah, Jake and I were trying to figure out ways to go against UConn. We didn't believe they could go back to back. But we really liked them as a team. We knew the players they had, Castle, Klingon, Newton, and everybody else. We were just trying to find ways to find someone else who would win a championship because it has been so long since a back-to-back has happened.
Yeah, I love UConn to death, especially for the fact that I believed in them 2 years ago, or two tournaments ago, and they won for me. I was so pleased, but I wanted to mix it up. I wanted to try something new, and yet the answer was right there in front of us the whole time, and they were the best team, and we knew. I mean, the entire season we reiterated that there's almost no flaws to their game, and yet we didn't simplify it enough, and we tried to get too complex and took some risks. But they were the best team. We knew they were the best team, and we just didn't put it down.
Just go back to our top 25 teams. We had them at 1. We believed they were the best team, but again, March can be crazy, and we thought it would be not them winning, but we believed them as the best team. We knew everything they could do. I mean, Dan Hurley's an amazing head coach, and they just ran the table again in dominant fashion.
Yeah, talking about Dan Hurley, because this 07 Florida, I believe, had a lot of the same players. Mm-hmm. But Dan Hurley, I guess some guys like Klingon, I believe, was on.
Yeah, Klingon, Caravan, and same with Newton were all on the team last year.
I think it goes to Dan Hurley with the way he built this team and how he's coached this team. But after like celebrating UConn, let's take another out. This is another team we did a whole video on. We didn't do a full video on UConn. Purdue. Purdue made it all the way to the final. We hated on Purdue. That can be recorded, and we're gonna wear that. And they made it to the final, even though it wasn't competitive. I think that's just UConn.
Yeah, the thing about Purdue, as we said in the video that we made, because we believed Purdue was another phony. We said if Purdue ends up making a run and surprising us that we would change the way we view March Madness. And it definitely has for me, because this year they had all the stats, they had all the numbers. They could, according to their stats, they could shoot threes, they could rebound, they had guys, but we believed on the off chance that they weren't going to get it done. But they were able to, and we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna eat that one, and we're gonna mix it up and change it for next year and start being more honest with ourselves about certain teams.
Yeah, I think Edey was really the X factor. We didn't believe in the other people around Edey, but those people ended up stepping up, whether it was Braden Smith or Lance Jones. They had some big games and they performed when they needed to, but obviously in the championship, that's not what happened. It was just the Edey show, and that's what we thought would happen beforehand. They did have, I think, an easier run than a lot of other teams that made it to the Final Four. But, I mean, we knew the bracket beforehand, and when we did not take them to go further than Utah State, we made a mistake there. Edey was so dominant, he averaged so many points, and he was unstoppable.
Yeah, and I know I'm bringing up another negative, but we did finish 16. We were third to last. I was second to last. So we'll focus a little bit more on the negative, then we'll go a little bit positive. But a negative I think we have to think is New Mexico. We had them in the Final Four. They did not win a game. They lost to Clemson. So I think we have to talk about that.
Yeah, the thing about New Mexico is they displayed all the signs. Everything was there. The offense was there. The three-point shooting was a little questionable, but we've seen teams without great three-point shooting make it before. Their defense was there. Their intensity was there. Their team chemistry was there, and they just fell flat. And they were the hot hand, or they were a possible hot hand. And so once again, I don't regret taking New Mexico, because everything I thought a good team was displayed through New Mexico and the Lobos. And Richard Pitino had a phenomenal team there. And I don't know, I thought it would translate to the tournament, but they just couldn't get. Clemson went on a crazy run and played better than they had played all year, and that's just the way it goes in March Madness, and it's unfortunate that New Mexico ran into them.
Yeah, Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr. can be streaky players. They don't shoot the greatest from the field, but when they're hot, they're two of the best guards in the country, and they can have the best backcourt in the country. They just had a bad night, and a bad night can happen in March. It's only one game. It's one game at a time, and if you lose, you're done. And unfortunately, New Mexico couldn't get it done. We can also go to Texas Tech, a team I truly believed in. They lost in the first round to NC State. I saw that route. The NC State route was the Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, that's not too much of a negative. The team that won that game went to the Final Four.
Yeah, I don't think Warren Washington was 100% or Darian Williams. They both didn't look right. They didn't look right. And then you add Pop Isaacs, who can shoot you out of a game, and it just went poorly.
But that's the thing. We kind of ignored the fact. I mean, we knew Pop Isaac would could very easily shoot them out of a game, and we ignored that when we were making our picks, and it ended up happening.
Yeah, I know.
So,
we knew it as a possibility, but we hoped it wouldn't, and we were wrong.
Yeah, I was looking. We did not get a single Final Four pick correct at all in our bracket. Yeah,
it's a sharp contrast from last year when I believed in UConn and they went. He believed in San Diego State and they went. And based on that, I was very confident going into this that I was making the right decisions, but it changes every year. The formula changes every single year, and it's just so hard to predict.
No one is perfect regarding March Madness. No one ever will be. And we have to be cognizant of how teams and players change year to year. San Diego State obviously went further than some people would have thought, because I think you had Auburn in that game, but they ended up losing to Yale. It's just such a crazy ride. Danny Wolf with Yale played so well. It's weird how some teams, when they get to March, a team that was so dominant, they were 5th in the net rankings before the tournament, just falls flat. So crazy stuff happens.
I had San Diego State in my Sweet 16.
You did?
Bracket, yeah.
Okay.
Put that out there.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Austin did finish ahead of us on all of us, but I think that can lead into our segue unless we have something else to talk about for March Madness. I think it was a really fun tournament.
I want to talk about Iowa State, a team that I believed in all year, ever since I watched them in December. And, I still believe in this team for next year. Their offensive efficiency was worrisome, and we made a point of that. But I thought their defense was going to lift them out of it, and it obviously didn't because Illinois was going on a tear. And I kind of feel weird having we made fun of Illinois and we thought they were bad, and then they beat my team. And so it was very disappointing to hear that, but they're bringing everybody back, and I think Iowa State is poised to make a run next year, especially with an improved offense and the same defense. And so we'll see how the transfer portal goes. We'll see how recruiting goes, but I think I was a year early on Iowa State, and I think we need to be watching out for them next year.
Yeah, Jake, this was a big question I wanted to ask you. Houston has been a great team. They've never won a title, whether they've had Clyde Drexler or Akeem or now obviously Jamal Shed, one of the best players in the country. He gets hurt. It seems like every year Marcus Sasser and so many other players get hurt and Houston doesn't have the firepower to win. Do you think they will ever get it done? I don't. They're losing so many players next year. I don't necessarily know if they're going to have the guys that could do it.
I think Sampson's a great coach. Very defensive minded, but every year that they're ranked, their question is their offense. It was last year and it was this year. We knew their offense was questionable, especially after they got obliterated by Iowa State in the Big 12 championship. And not having Jamal Shed is tough. And I think with Jamal Shed,
They would beat Duke.
They beat
They lost
Duke.
by 3 without him, so I think they would win.
and so but I still don't think they win the title, because who do they have to guard Edey? And so, I mean, I know Roberts is good, but Edey's 7'4". And so I worry about the mindset of Sampson, and I think they need to focus a little bit more offensively. But their defense is highly ranked every year, but yet it still hasn't gotten results. And so I think we need to start looking at Houston and judging them by their offense now, because we know their defense is going to be great. But if their offense can get them over a hump, then they'll be title bound. But they need to start bringing in players. We thought LJ Cryer was going to be a good enough addition, but they need more. They need more guys. They need better supporting casts offensively, guys who can hit threes. And so Houston needs to change their mindset a little bit, just a little bit. They're still a phenomenal team, and they've been dominant the past 2 years. And so, and they're still really good basketball to watch. And so I enjoy watching Houston, but they need to make some changes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really excited for next year. And speaking of next year, the team's staying, Pat. Part of it is we wanted to be here to see Jake talk to you. It was a rough year. We had to bring the vibes up. But, you're still our March Madness expert, and that's still going to go on that contract. Speaking of the contract, if I can reach over.
Oh, dear.
We will most likely, we're going to try to upgrade our college basketball. I think I can feel free saying that. Austin and I've talked about it. We're going to try to add a little bit more to our college basketball repertoire in the channel, so you should check that out. So if you would sign back this contract and join us once again.
I would be happy to.
Sweet. We're glad to have you.
Signing for an Iowa State championship next year.
Okay.
We'll hold you to it. We'll hold you to it.
Okay. Do you want? I'm gonna go UConn.
UConn? That's a crazy pick.
Well, it's madness, man. So
Yeah.
toss a pen over there, and I'll go UConn.
If I had to take a team for next year, it's tough because there's still so many transfers that need to be moved around.
I mean, just think about it. I mean, UConn could not have done it without Cam Spencer, who is an incredible addition from Rutgers. And so I think we're going to see a more transfer portal heavy mindset in college basketball. So Iowa State's going to have to pull in some transfers who can score, and Houston's going to have to pull in some transfers. We're seeing transfers become one of the pivotal key pieces on runs in the tournament, like Lance Jones for Purdue. And so the transfer portal is going to be key, and there's a lot of good players in the transfer portal already. So
I think given the right transfers, I'll go Texas Tech. I think losing Pop Isaacs is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that while he averaged their most points, he was also the most inefficient shooter. He averaged the most turnovers, and he wasn't even their best passer. So I feel like Darian Williams and Warren Washington can really take the show, and whoever they get, they need to get someone to be a good point guard. But I think their team is built for success.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover, and be on the lookout for more from all three of us. Contract has been signed, and hope you enjoyed this first person episode. Jake, it's been great seeing you, and we'll see you next year. And thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.